Shut up and sit down.
Welcome back.
Good to be here for another episode of Generic Podcast.
You call it that. I call it the weekly-ish podcast because we don't necessarily do one every week. I know one doesn't get uploaded every week, so
No,
it's weekly-ish.
I'll be uploading one today, and I'll probably upload another one, or today's one, tomorrow or the next day. Because now that I've finished running my errands, all good to basically just chill for the rest of the weekend.
Yeah, now that I no longer have a boiled microphone, I can re-record some audio for a short that I made. That even though I uploaded it just to watch it on my channel and didn't put it out there to anyone but you guys, it's got 190 views.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, that's neat, but... You know, imagine what it would do if we actually pushed it.
Yeah, exactly. Especially if you have more ideas for that sort of style.
I had written down 7 different things that I thought of. So I fell asleep on the couch. I was taking a midday nap, and I woke up and... the YouTube algorithm did its thing, and it was playing some video game retrospective or something, and I just hit the idea. I was like, man, this is basically just exactly the same as this other thing. And then that got me thinking about Fast and Furious and Point Break, and I was like, those are shot for shot, the same fucking thing almost.
Yeah.
And then I wrote down 7 different things that I thought were similar enough that I could make a short about them, and I was like, yeah, I don't know where that notebook went. I think it's back here, but yeah. Yeah, Fast and Furious and Point Break, Pokemon and Digimon, which, I mean, those were obviously the same thing.
Yeah.
Souls games and Assassin's Creed games, because I know that Jesus, I know they are from the same company, From Software, but yeah, they're incredibly similar games.
Souls games and what?
Armored Core.
Oh, I was gonna say Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, I fucking write myself notes in shorthand, and I'm always like, yeah, I'll remember, and then I don't.
It's fine.
Yeah. The TV show Supernatural and basically Devil May Cry games.
Yeah.
Gundam Wing and Evangelion. Yeah, I don't know what the fuck my shorthand.
Hell yeah.
I have 4 more things written down, but I'm like, I don't know, is that an L or a C? And I don't know what the fuck these are, but
fuck it. Well,
I'm sure I would remember them when I needed to. The only one I do know is Prince and The Weeknd.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same guy.
Yeah, I can see that.
Something else and Cyberpunk. NMS. The fuck is NMS? Oh, it was gonna be a No Man's Sky and Cyberpunk.
Okay, so I was like, is that what you're
comparo about. The only difference being is that Yeah, they like fixed No Man's Sky and added all the stuff they had initially talked about, and they never did that with Cyberpunk. But I know you and I both agree that like, we probably don't feel like they ever needed to do that with Cyberpunk because
No.
I mean, aside from bugs and some playability issues on my considerably low tier hardware, like I feel like that game since release has always been a fantastic masterpiece, and I love it.
Yeah.
I don't want them to fix it or change it.
Yeah, there's really a lot of the things I would want them to do require a lot more better hardware. It would be like livening the city so that way you get more NPCs because you do see a lot of the same but and like just a more lively city. But obviously that is going to be more straining on the city and on your GPU.
More so than that, it's going to be really resource heavy on like the game engine, which in itself, their engine isn't. Yeah, it's not robust.
No,
you know,
no, they made their own engine.
It's a turbocharged 4-cylinder. It's not. Yeah. It's not a big lazy V8 that can do more.
Yeah. So
yeah.
But I mean, even besides that, though, the game definitely did everything I wanted it to and more.
Yeah, and I can't wait for
Phantom Liberty.
Yeah, the DLC. The term DLC, it just out of my mind. I was like, yeah, the the other one I wrote down was Metal Gear Solid and something, but I don't remember what the something was. And I was like, there's not a whole lot of things like Metal Gear Solid out there, but yeah, whatever it is, I'll figure it out later.
Yeah, I don't know. It's fun.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm not recording yet, so I'm gonna.
Oh, that's fine. I started recording, so because when I picked up my sweet new hoodie.
Oh God, you bought that shit you put in the group chat? Ugh.
Hell yeah!
Why did you buy that? Anyway, yeah. I don't mind that you also record, but do me a favor and click toggle tile view. That way, there's two of us and we're the same size, and it's not
just you.
Big me and little you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think one of them you recorded, it was like just me, and I was like, what the fuck, dude? It's just me.
Yeah, you're welcome.
But yeah, now that we are recording and we're here, and I'm gonna take a drink of Nos because my throat needs cleared a lot. Vaping is fucking my throat up.
Yeah, I've been smoking a lot, mainly my Che Guevaras, wherever they are.
Oh man,
I just gotta send you a bunch.
Yeah, send me some of those for my birthday or something, because I don't even really smoke anymore. When I do, it's Lucky Strikes, and the last time it's for anyone watching and they want to have a awesomely deep voice like me, smoke Lucky Strikes. That's how you get it. Oh, those are the white ones? I've never had those.
Yeah, these are the only ones I can get near me, but unless I go to the Don Q.
Oh, the Don Quixote?
Yep.
That donkey.
Yeah, the Mega Don Q in Okinawa.
So this is going to segue nicely into my first talking point, but there's a Don Quixote in Ishin.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah, there's a Don Quixote in every fucking RGG game. And RGG, Ryuga Gogeta, pretty sure I just fucked that pronunciation up, but translates literally like a dragon. That's what the Yakuza games have always been called in Japan. It's also the name of the studio, by the way. I know it's just Sega's the publisher, but I think it's RGG Studios. But yeah, I am an enormous fanboy of their games. I have played and completed all of them that exist as a Western release. There's 2 PSP games that I haven't played and probably never will, just because they'll never be Western released or localized. And I don't mean localized like with an English voice cast, because I don't care about that. I play all the games in Japanese voice with English subtitles. That's the way they were meant to be played, and that's the way I play them. But the most recent one is actually a remaster of a game they did before, Like a Dragon Ishin, which is set in Damn, your keyboard's loud. But it's set in late 1850s, early 1860s Japan. A very tumultuous time when the Bakufu era, and I think I fucked the pronunciation of that up. Basically, the era of the shogun and the samurai was coming to an end, and the Meiji Restoration was about to begin. And,
they have fucking guns. All by
there are
retro ones.
Yeah, well, I mean, you think about 1860. That's like in America. That was like the frontier times when, cowboys were still roaming the plains.
Oh yeah. 100%.
So there are some cowboy guns.
Looks pretty good. Like,
it is fucking beautiful. Like, in your free time, like, just watch some cutscenes from it. I mean, it's gorgeous. It's not like
hell yeah, they even got Majima.
Oh, dude, there's so many characters, and they try to weave this story about, like, you don't know who's a good guy or a bad guy, but, like, given that what character is portraying a character in this is, I knew from the get-go, I was like, okay, the good guys are still good guys, and the bad guys are still bad guys. I don't care what twists they try to put in it. Like, I know Majima's not going to be a bad guy.
Yeah. He's just very boisterous and very odd. Is like the.
So we'll put this down as an aside that I want to come to later, because I'm not done talking about Ishin yet. But I watched an excellent. I wrote this so bad I can't write and talk at the same time because I just misspelled trauma. I watched an excellent psychoanalytical breakdown of Majima's persona and his entire personality as the mad dog of Shimano, and how that is a coping mechanism for the trauma he's experienced in his life. And it was fantastic. But anyway, back to Ishin. Ishin is beautiful. The story is great. It's a loosely based on true events story about an actual guy who really did exist and really did all of the things that come to, pass in the game.
What was his name?
Ryoma Sakamoto.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Real dude.
Yep, I know him.
Really did bring about, the end of the shogunate, united two longtime warring clans in Japan's samurai era in peace, and kind of kicked off the whole Meiji Restoration of Japan. The only thing the game doesn't do accurately about him, and I'm not spoiling anything here, but he was tragically murdered at the age of 31. So assassinated, I believe, is the actual term.
Yeah, I know Ryoma Sakamoto from something completely different. I know him from Gintama.
Well, that looks a bit more like the actual him than Kazuma Kiryu does in Ishin. In Ishin, Kazuma Kiryu, and I don't know the actual actor who has done his face and mocap for like 17 years now, his name, but I'm just going to call him Kiryu. Kiryu just looks like Miyamoto Musashi throughout the entire game, because he's got Musashi look to him. There's even you can not apply a filter, you can like put on a skin almost, but it's just a face. It adds a scar to his face like Musashi. He just looks exactly like him almost, but yeah. There's a bit of an Easter egg though in a cutscene, and I am spoiling this 10-year-old game that just got remade for anybody who's never played it.
I'll put something in it for it.
Yeah, whatever. There's a scene in the game where you end up assassinating Ryoma Sakamoto impersonator. This is part of the main storyline plot, but the model they used for the guy who wasn't even the guy you were supposed to assassinate, he's just the guy you ended up killing. He actually looks very much like the real Ryoma Sakamoto. And I don't think anybody caught this but me, but if you, I don't know, just somehow look up pictures of like the actual Ryoma Sakamoto, like, Yeah. The guy you actually assassinate in the game, who's not even the right guy, looks like exactly like the real Sakamoto, which I think is a sweet Easter egg. But yeah, I think I'm the only person that caught that because when I was playing it and the cutscene played, I was like, oh, I did the DiCaprio from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood thing where I was like, oh, yeah, I pointed at the screen and I was like, oh, it's a. But no, they recreate that photograph. I mean, it's beautifully done. Things look period correct. It looks excellent.
Which is a fantastic, because that's not a thing that a lot of people do. The only other company I know that goes to that length was the people that did Assassin's Creed. Because I don't know if you remember.
They used to do that.
They used to.
I don't think like the last 5 Assassin's Creed games have been historically accurate whatsoever.
Shoot. Because in Assassin's Creed 2, the temple, I don't remember which, it's one of the big temples, like real life temple. I think it was actually this one, the Cathedrale, actually burned down in real life, but because in the game they went to such lengths that they actually scanned with real life cameras the whole thing to such an extent that when it burned, they could recreate it to what it originally was just based on what the game developers had captured.
Yeah, they used to put in...
Like, that is mad work, because that is a huge
inspired,
building.
excellent, beautiful work into video games. And Ubisoft being one of the worst companies, they just don't do shit like that anymore. We watch a lot of videos about that and the scumbaggery of the games industry, but...
there's
back to Ishin. Another wonderful thing that they do is because they mention like there's a lot of very old Japanese terms in them, like the bakufu. And they refer to cities like Kyo and Edo. Like the little thing pops up on top of the text box, and it's like press the start button for glossary. And if you press the start button when there's a green highlighted glossary word, it'll pop up and say, like, "Oh, so Edo is what they used to call this city. It was the capital of Japan." But I was like, oh, it's informational.
How about
that?
It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's great. And I'm generally so happy with Ishin. I really, really hope that they remake their other historical takeoff of the RGG games, which was Kenshin. Me and a lot of other people in the Yakuza fan community, though, we're kind of doubtful they're going to ever remake Kenshin because it's got a lot of problematic by today's standards contents in it, keeping in mind it took place in like 1500s Japan, so it was a very different time.
It's a thing that a lot of companies...
Child prostitutes, that's the main thing that was in the game. It's historically accurate but incredibly problematic because there were like 13-year-old prostitutes.
I'm gonna have to whatever.
I mean, if you're a history buff and you know anything about Japan,
they haven't always been the good guys. We'll go with that.
No, they were the bad guys a lot of the time. They were the bad guys for a long time, which reminds me of another talking point I have we'll get to later.
But yeah, I know it's unfortunate that they probably won't because of that, because I understand both sides in they don't want to go and portray that because they kind of want people to forget it, but you can't wash away the sins of your past.
Sorry, it's not Kenshin, it's Kenzan.
Okay.
And yeah, this one...
Which is...
It features Sakamoto... Or no, it doesn't feature... This one is about Musashi. And it's, 1580s to 1600s. And I think it jumps time a couple times like an Assassin's Creed game. But yeah, it's... Kenzan is, all about Miyamoto Musashi. In Edo in 1605. So yeah. That's one I'd love to see remade because, like, I don't know, being the kind of weeb I am and how much I love, like, swords and, like, Bushido culture, like, Musashi's the guy. You know? Like, but that's one of those things I hope gets remade and re-released, maybe with, like, the same kind of disclaimer at the beginning that, like, Mafia 3 had. where it's like, look, we understand there's a lot of troubling and graphic imagery in this game and depictions of like the Klan and shit, but we felt like to not preserve this period of history accurately would be more disrespectful to the people who had to go through it. You know?
Yeah, that was one game I thought about, and then as weird as Disney is, as much as I don't like them, they do actually go and keep a lot of their older cartoons to what they were when they originally aired. They just air a disclaimer at the beginning saying, hey, this was a different time. Understand that most likely at least 50 years have passed and we have changed.
Yeah.
Not always for the better.
Disney was an anti-Semite. It's okay. We cut his head off.
Yeah.
You know?
It's preserved somewhere, whatever.
It's in the Disney Vault with VHSs of Timon and Pumbaa and Cinderella and whatever else was a Disney VHS in the 90s. I forget. We had a whole drawer of them.
Yeah, me too.
When I was a kid. I don't remember watching fucking any of them. Yeah. I was never a Disney kid. I'm certainly not a Disney adult. Those are problematic people right there, Disney adults. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's a huge Japanese thing is they love Disney, which is really weird.
That's so fucked.
So weird. I don't understand their obsession with it because you'll see it even here. I'll see it a lot.
They have so many better. Everything Disney does, I feel like at one time or another, Japan has done better.
I mean, it's very hard for Americans to get into, I would say, Japanese musicals, which is pretty much the only thing I really get into of Disney is their musical movies. So such as Lion King, such as Mulan, which I don't care for the story of any of them. I just like the music.
I've never liked musicals whatsoever. It's fine with me, but at the same time as I hate musicals, I do appreciate and like things like kabuki theater.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
white guys who are almost 30 like kabuki theater.
Yeah, not a lot.
Probably just me.
But yeah, but it's
that was me talking about Ishin. I love it. It was great. I really want Kenzan because I love Miyamoto Musashi, and we can do this one like point counterpoint. That was one of the things I wrote down.
Let me see. They might actually have I'll look it up later after the stream. They might actually have a translation for Kenzan.
Oh no, it's got. Excuse me. Sorry. As the game exists as a PS3 game, it has Japanese audio English subtitles. It was just never released to Region 1, America. And it's not available anywhere on PC. So
yeah, if it's PS3,
I can't play it.
If it's PS3, then it's a thing. Because PlayStation 3, I believe, is region free. So you could, if I went and found the disc out here while I'm here, I don't know if it's Japan or if it's because I know China does a lot of. They kind of do both. Japanese, Chinese with English subtitles. I have to look. That'll be something I can look up when I get out, when we finalize the stream.
I'm not that concerned with it. I can always watch a playthrough on YouTube to satiate the need. Yakuza is one of the RGG games, because they're not just Yakuza games. They also made a Fist of the North Star game that was
macho,
basically Yakuza.
Yeah,
but with different characters in a different setting. But that's fine. That's the formula that works. They're fantastic games. They're awesome. I wish more Americans knew about them and played them.
Like, they could do a lot. They could probably get away with doing a JoJo game. Just based on...
I'm sure they either have already started work on one or are planning one. Because, like...
Because JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is so
for
huge.
Their games, yeah. I mean, it's already... They'd go together great. So, I don't know... Sega, but RGG games, love them. But
for my thing, I'll have two because they're both relatively short. So as you can see, I have the Lego car, pretty well worked on. Let me turn it. There we go. So the table set up with the Legos with various piles because of each page. with
Fully
the
organized.
car,
Love it.
with the car right there with the book. So right now the Legos are ordered to finalize the car. It's just a matter of waiting until they get here, and then I'll be able to finalize it and then edit that real quick, and then I'll throw that up on the channel.
Just to clarify, not Lego, off-brand, plastic, legal, safe product.
Brick something. I don't know.
Brickworks
like
with an X, something, I don't know.
But so that was one of the two things. The other one is all screen share. Because we've been doing it for so long, I'm just going to keep it going. The Bring a Trailer things that I noticed that were quite shocking.
Yeah, Bring a Trailer somehow always brings in ridiculous prices for shit, but also square bodies have gotten to like a ludicrous level of appreciation for what I can admit, because both my family and I, we've owned a few square body Chevy vehicles, whether it be Blazers, Suburbans, pickups. I mean, they're tough and durable, but they're fucking awful trucks. They're uncomfortable, they're loud, they're rattly, the doors always sag, they're slow as dog shit, and they get like 7 miles a gallon on a good day. They're not good trucks. But for some fucking reason, I don't know, pop country music or fucking whatever, people have just gotten it into their heads that there was never a better truck than the square body Chevy. And I'm just like, all right, well, whatever, bro.
Which is
fucking...
I don't understand, because yes, this is a less than 1,000 miles, but it's a truck, one.
It is a Chevy pickup from a time when trucks were not like trucks now. They weren't luxurious and comfortable. That was a tool that you used on your farm or at a construction site. That is a utilitarian thing.
So I don't understand the price. Like it's
150 grand. So it's that or a used Zonda.
Like I don't. I don't understand it, because this is Porsche price money. This is
it's like brand new
C8
GT3 or like brand new C8 Z06.
Like you can get so much more for compared to
original
106.
That seat's been recovered.
Yeah, there's no way that's original. Like unless it was stored in unless it was stored in a airtight Ziploc bag, there's no way. Like they were not made to last. They were made cheap because that's what you did back then.
Well, that's just General Motors to a T. It's like, how can we build something as cheap as possible?
So
it's the GM-ness of GM products.
Yeah, an 85 mile an hour speedo. So it's not fast. You're not going to take this on the highway ever, because you're never going to. You're going to be fucking honked.
That thing's got like 150 horsepower.
100. What does it say? Shit, said it. Where the fuck was it? 160.
It's an of the era 5 V8, like, no power.
Yeah, and you're gonna it's 160. How much have you lost in the almost 40 years?
Well, but it's got low miles. Yeah, it's cool, but it's never been driven. That engine needs rebuilt because the truck's never been driven.
So that was one of the three things I saw. Next up was ridiculous. I don't care how low miles it is. It's not worth 1.8 million.
No, none of those Ford GTs are, because they all have EcoBoost V6s, which is just a Mazda V6.
EcoBoost V6 twin turbo. I don't care. Like I don't care how much Shmi and all them talk about it. It's not that great of a car. I don't care how much Daddy Doug goes and says he loves it. It's not that great a car. It's not 1.8 million. Never will be.
There are Casey tearing guys like Shmi apart for fawning over supercars.
Yeah,
it is weird. Old man mad at everything videos.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I didn't watch his last one. I just saw the comments for his last one where he tears apart a VinWiki video, and people are like, "What the fuck's wrong with you? Like, why is this your I don't want to deal with VinWiki anymore sort of thing?"
I haven't seen that one, but
yeah, he basically talked about
YouTube on the TV up. Let me just search that shit.
He basically talked about the fucking what the hell? It was about a livery someone did for a auto run, like one of those cross country things, where he dressed his Lambo up as a cop car, and he was just like, "This, should be illegal." Like he just basically like talk mad shit about it.
Yeah. Illegal car YouTube sucks.
Yeah. But if you look at the comments, like, it rips him apart. It's like, what the fuck's wrong? Like, why are you so angry? Why are you so hateful all the time? But
he needs to get out of rural Ohio.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the biggest problem he has is where he's located.
That and, like, I'm sure his kid doesn't help because he probably doesn't sleep that well. Which, like, that's being a parent, man. Get the fuck over it. Like, you kind of, sign up for that when you had a kid.
I don't know. You look at the kind of things he's done and the work he's put into like the car industry and like automotive lifestyle as a whole. And like, I'm just looking at his view, like that video, 8,000 views, his other videos, like 4,000 views. Like he's probably a little bit spiteful and resentful. Like he's done as much of the work as he has, but like, people don't care about that. They only care about
supercars.
I don't know, supercar blondie standing next to a Hawaii.
Oh yeah, well she's wearing a tube top. Yeah.
That's
just how it goes, man. Like kids, especially 7 years old, they don't really have car posters on their walls anymore because they have it on their phone and they can change their phone wallpaper like the fucking weather. So like
it's gonna be Thanos doing a Fortnite dance
like
next week.
Yeah, so like kids don't have their posters up like they used to. So the cars that they imagine are whatever they see on YouTube, which is supercars and hypercars, cars that they're never going to obtain, but they want to.
Cars are only going to drive in Forza.
Yeah, because that's like the only thing they really can do. Like a lot of kids nowadays have kind of given up hope because they see how the world is, and I don't really blame them. Like fuck it, let them dream about supercars and hypercars. I will take the decrease in price on the cars I want that are currently too expensive, but they don't want, and I'll take that. Because
cars that aren't the most impressive on paper, but are just really good to drive.
Because, like, our channel isn't meant to, make money or make views. We're just doing this for fun. If you want to watch it, go for it. I don't give a fuck.
The whole, like, car factory idea I had where we build roof-like sort of track day retro looking cars that we've discussed at length before. I don't even plan to operate that as like a making a profit kind of thing. I mean, we'll make a profit, sure, like enough to keep going, but I'm not trying to get rich on these cars, which is why we're not going to sell them for as much as Roof sells a fucking car for.
No.
But also, you're not exactly going to get like the Roof quality. I mean,
no, you're going to get what we build.
Yeah.
But it'll still be
guys
great.
In a shed.
Yeah. Really, it'll be more one guy because I'll be fucking still working in 9 to 5 or whatever.
Yeah. For a while.
Yeah.
Until we're successful enough to stop doing that.
Yeah. So. And then the last thing I had on the list was this bring a trailer for my two topics. Was a 2023 Z06 for $230,000. Yeah.
It's a convertible though.
It's 11 miles. I don't give a shit. Like, $230,000 is insane.
Yeah, it's really not the miles, man. That there was a point in around the early 2000s where mileage, from an engineering standpoint, mileage determining the life of a car really stopped mattering.
Yeah, I feel like those kind of cars, like 11 miles, you're just never going to want to drive. You're just going to hope that it keeps going up. But, like, this is a much better purchase because this is also an automatic, as the last one was. This is a convertible.
I'd much rather have a driver than a museum piece.
Yeah.
Because you can't get any enjoyment out of a museum piece.
But, like, this is 100% a driving car. I know you don't care much for Porsche, but... I don't love new Porsches, but I understand this has value. Like, this has the Vice passes, which is highly desirable. and adds a lot of things.
I am not really a Porsche guy, but I talked with you about my someday future plan to correct Porsche's mistake.
Mm-hmm.
Swap around a 911 to make it front engine rear drive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which would be, you want to turn a 964, I believe.
Yeah.
Which we did talk
put
about.
The engine in the front.
We did talk about off screen. Basically, my recommendation for that was to either get a 964 convertible, because the 964 convertible is about as much as a 930 hardtop, about 40 to 50 grand. Otherwise, get a 930 convertible, because that's around 30 grand, and then convert that into a 964, and then convert that from convertible into a hardtop via some welding, really.
I'm fully fine with whatever.
Because the 964 and the 930 have basically the same interior. It's really the front bumpers and the rear bumper, which they already make conversion kits for. So it's not a lot of work.
I'm totally fine with like a Copart salvage flood car, hasn't run in 9 years, been sitting in a field Porsche to do this with. Mm-hmm. You know, because I mean, we're talking about re-engineering the whole fucking car anyway, basically, by taking the rear engine from the rear and putting it in the front, and still keeping it rear-wheel drive. So I mean, it's gonna be a lot of work regardless. So I'm fine with it being a complete shitbox before we start.
Yeah, which your best bet would be not even Copart, because it's going to be hard to find that kind of car on Copart. It would be the Beverly Hills Car Club.
Copart's like
it's like bring a trailer.
Established title flood cars from like the Enterprise lot in Florida that got hit with a hurricane.
Yeah,
it's like I don't want an 06 Malibu. What is this?
It's that combined with like the bring a trailer for wrecked cars, where everything pays a premium and it doesn't make sense. So that's why I say Beverly Hills Car Club, which I wish they would sponsor us, because I absolutely love them. I love looking at their cars that they have for sale. They always have the cars that I desire, but do not currently have the funds for. At a really good
fish.
That's fair. At a reasonable price. That is what I wish.
Shop and I got snacks.
Thank you. So for people that are in the Beverly Hills area, I recommend checking out Beverly Hills Car Club.
Yeah, they're great. They speak to mostly the aesthetic of the time we love the most. And it was like the Los Angeles you would see in like Beverly Hills Cop 2 or like a Guns N' Roses video. Very stylish late 90s LA. Mid 90s LA, like 1995 LA. Like, yeah, that's an aesthetic period I would like to exist in.
Oh man, sorry, I don't mean to add
It's a horrible time historically, but like, you know, there's that great line in Beverly Hills Cop 2 where Eddie Murphy's talking to somebody and that guy's what's Eddie Murphy's name in Beverly Hills Cop?
Oh god, I don't remember. Here, one sec. Axel Foley.
Yeah, the guy's like, Mr. Foley, I don't know how it is in Detroit, but this is Beverly Hills. 6 foot tall blondes aren't exactly uncommon. And I was like, yes. Yes. There's a scene, I think, in Beverly Hills Cop 2 where they end up at the Playboy Mansion and there's just like Playboy bunnies like playing volleyball, like Hugh's having a party, and it's fantastic.
Everything.
And I'm just like, yeah, there's like beautiful Porsches and Mercedes is very much of the era things just sitting around parked, and I was like, that's yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
I think the bad guy in the movie has like a 600 SL limousine, and I'm just like, that's
hell yeah.
That's peak 90s. Yeah.
Yep.
So that's a dictator's car. That's the 90s. Yes.
Speaking of fucking dudes in like 6 foot tall, like bleach blonde, you reminded me of. So I was at work last night.
My future plans.
I got really bored, and the kid that I went to Tokyo with went and saw me watching a music video, or saw me on the computer and decided to come in, and I was listening to The Who, like some of their live stuff, and he sat down for one, and then but I'm guessing he got uncomfortable because he kind of like uncomfortably shifted when it showed Pete Townsend wearing, his stomach shirt, like his crop top shirt that he always wore, like that basically.
Yeah, dudes in the 80s just wore half shirts. My dad wore half shirts.
Yeah.
Like,
so
imagine this, but like up here.
Yeah, exactly. So like Pete Townsend.
Dudes in the 80s just wore half shirts.
Yep.
Like, if I was in shape more than my 2-pack, I would wear half shirts.
So it was funny because you could tell that he got uncomfortable. So because he left halfway through the song, and I was like,
fragile.
I was like, oh man, you keep talking shit about how men don't dress like men like they used to. Men never dress like men, bro. Like I should have,
especially not in the 70s and 80s.
No.
Men dressed like chicks.
Yeah, like
and chicks loved it.
I mean,
what's stopping you from dressing like Eddie Van Halen?
Eddie Van Halen, Prince.
There's a great picture that needs to be made into a poster for the warehouse of Eddie Van Halen in like a half shirt and I think like red jeans, and he's standing with his guitar next to his Lamborghini Countach.
Hell yeah!
Like, fuck yeah, dude. That's everything we're about.
Like
fast cars, fast women, and Van Halen.
Hell yeah! Hell yeah!
I need more Van Halen t-shirts. Anyway, go on.
No, that was basically it. He just got uncomfortable. I was like, all right, I'm just gonna keep watching this video because like I know Pete Townsend's fucking wild. Like
I love making insecure people uncomfortable. It's like one of the few joys I still have in life in this lifeless, joyless world we live in now.
Yeah.
But yeah, making insecure people uncomfortable is just. I mean, it's not an orgasm, but it's a good fucking feeling.
Yeah.
I love doing it.
It's
yeah.
Because there was that, and then the other thing he was about why is everything so sexualized now? And I had to have a whole discussion for about half an hour on.
Always was.
Yeah, that's the thing. He was like, "Oh, it used to be
the 50s."
Because keep in mind, this dude is 22, so he is very young.
Yeah, he's a baby still. Anyone's watching, and you're like below the age of 25, like you're still a teenager.
Like if you don't remember 9/11,
sorry, but like
you are a child. Like,
yeah, but yeah, if you don't remember 9/11, like you're still a kid.
Like sorry, man, it's not gatekeeping, it's true. But
yeah, you can't call it gatekeeping when it's literally just age and experience. Like you can't. Age and experience can't be gatekeeping. There's nothing you can do about that except live some life and get older. I mean,
also it was a whole different time. Like 9/11 before and after was totally different.
Pre 9/11 America and post 9/11 America are very different, and that's I think why a lot of the generation younger than us, I call them the TikTok kids, have this like lustful yearning for like Y2K aesthetic and like early 2000s like Christina Aguilera and like Britney Styles and like big dumb swoop bangs and choker. I'm like, yeah, that was hot as shit. I thought when I was like 7.
Yeah,
I didn't know what sex was. I was like, oh, those girls are pretty. Like, yeah, I'm still into that aesthetic. I would love some Y2K women. Problem is they don't fucking exist anymore.
Yeah, no.
I want a time machine, damn it.
Yeah, but we had a whole discussion basically on the fact that his whole notion of sex should be kept in the bedroom sort of thing hasn't existed since like the 50s.
From fucking Mormon, Utah.
That's what I'm like. I'm like, where? So I had a whole discussion about the 60s, 70s, and 80s being free love, and then like late 80s, AIDS kind of came in and free love kind of died out.
But AIDS didn't come in. AIDS was engineered by the CIA to target the black community. Let's not get that twisted.
But it became more prevalent. And then and then it kind of, went back to a lot more minimal, but then with the development of the internet, and it's always been where the younger generation wanted to emulate the older generation, where as a kid you want to emulate a teenager, and a teenager wants to emulate an adult. So nowadays, or like since like I'd say 2000s, 90s, adults kind of dressed, like the belly t-shirts and all that kind of stuff. So the teenagers started doing it, and then the teenagers started doing it, and then and then it just kept going to where now clothing companies saw that, all right, well, kids want to dress like this, so we'll make clothes for this.
Cyclical.
Yeah.
It comes around and around again, man.
So clothing companies realized, like, hey, this 7-year-old wants to dress like a 19-year-old slut.
70s
so
clothes were popular as hell for a while. There were a ton of chicks in fucking bell bottoms.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
So
Some,
it's
some lowrider jeans on that ass right now. Those fucking stupid bell bottoms off, you idiot.
But so with 7-year-olds now dressing how 19-year-olds and all them dress, it's sexuality's just become a lot more open, and it's just affected
the world's
the world.
a fucked up place, really.
Yeah.
What we're arriving at. But I look tired as shit. Oh my god. Dark circles. But anyway, sleep is for the weak.
That was a whole...
And the dead.
Like, that was just a very little bit of the conversation. It lasted a very long while. He didn't have anything to say at the end, so I don't know if he had any questions, because we got sidetracked on something really different.
No, but you know how kids and even people young like him are, that you can give them all the knowledge in the world, but if they don't agree with the way it's been delivered to them, they don't agree with it. So
yeah.
You did your part in trying to educate someone younger than you about life and how shit is, and whether or not they drink the water you led them to, that's entirely up to them. I mean,
yeah. I mean, I wouldn't even say it's even just the younger generation. It's all generations. Even
yeah, it's always that way. People younger than you don't want to hear what you have to say because they don't believe you could possibly know anything. They don't, because they know everything.
It's just like my LPO now who is older than me, and is actually the weeaboo I had written down, because I say weeaboo because otaku's, just a person I would say is knowledgeable about anime. Weeaboo's like a blight on humanity, in that this dude has a anime character, full boobs and everything, tattooed on his legs.
I mean, that's just a certain kind of appreciation for Japanese culture that he has, whereas, like, I have 2 Irizumi-style tattoos because that's an appreciation for an aspect of Japanese culture that I have. That said, I fully use the term weeaboo when I describe myself and the things I like about Japan, because, I don't care. I'll use the slur talking about myself.
Fair enough. But
I am the slur.
Because me and him have had long discussions about, because his belief is that the internal combustion engine will be phased out, and that now that electric cars have reached I don't remember what he said, some random number he has memorized, it's like 8% market, it'll get phased out because now it's integrated. And it's like, yeah, that's great. There's still too many factors. Like, they can't put out electric car batteries. They're fires. They don't have the infrastructure. The mining is terrible for the world, and it's reliant on slavery.
The world from an ecological standpoint, the environment, but also, like,
it relies on slavery.
Also an ecological standpoint of, like, the child slave labor that's being used to mine this shit.
Yeah.
And
it's not going to last forever. Like, these batteries do get worse.
No.
Like, so there's so many things.
We also can't recycle them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, once they're done, they're done. Chuck them in the ocean.
Yeah. So I've tried reasoning with him on that. You
can't reason with people like that. They're in their own echo chamber of what they believe being correct.
Even where we're going with technology, with how everything listens to us and all that, he's like, oh man, we haven't gone far enough. Like, we need to keep going. I'm like, you are absolutely insane, because if I could never have a device that listens to me, like, if I could just have a basic phone, not a smartphone, I would absolutely, but it's just impossible. Like, my TV's smart, my fucking soundbar is smart, like, everything's smart.
Let's go one better than flip phones. Let's you and me get brick phones, bro. Brick phones for life.
Like, brick phones and a pager, like.
Yeah.
I would be on board with that, but, like, I don't understand, like, people's obsession. Like, him, as slanderous as it is, I fully believe his reasoning for wanting technology to advance even further is so he can get a virtual girlfriend, because he has zero chance of ever getting a real girlfriend. His whole existence is about spending money on anime girls and various things in that same retrospect. So,
the dark side of technology.
Yeah, where reality is
a sex doll.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, as slanderous as it is, I fully believe that to be the case, because there is zero chance, unless this dude somehow meet someone that will accept an alcoholic who, I don't use that term lightly, literally is an alcoholic.
I know you don't, because various times in your naval career, you probably could have been labeled an alcoholic.
Yeah. So
I actually was labeled an alcoholic by the Navy because I went to mast, because I blacked out once and missed a muster. They're like, you're an alcoholic. I was like, I was binge drinking in San Diego with like 9 of my friends.
Yeah.
That's something every sailor in San Diego does a lot. I'm far from the worst of your problems.
No. Compared to, a lot of the shit I did, I should have gone to mass for my
I don't even drink anymore.
Yeah.
The only thing that made me drink was the Navy.
Yeah, exactly. But, yeah, no, that's a whole other thing. Like, we could talk on length about the amount of times the Navy has caused us mental stress and just isn't a good place to be. And I'm glad that everybody isn't joining, because nobody should. But
no one should ever join the military for any reason.
Unless it's Space Force!
That or you saw the meme I put in the group chat earlier today? Or it's like, why do 20 and retire with a pension when you could do 4 and get out with a VA disability check?
Yeah, straight facts.
That's not exactly what I did. I didn't intend for that to be my only income when I got out, even though for the past 2 months that's been my only income.
Yeah, but I mean,
granted, I did more than my initial enlistment. I got obla served and then I think extended for a little bit. So I did like 6 years total in the military.
Yeah, which that's more than enough.
But fuck that, I earned my disability.
Yeah, you went through a lot of stuff.
I'm more mentally broken than physically, but I'm also quite physically broken. Every time it rains, my knees and my back and my shoulder all hurt like really bad. I'm like, why the rain? Why does the rain do it? I don't ever understand
Change
that.
in air pressure, I'm assuming.
Probably that, yeah.
But
swinging it back around though, I made a little secondary note about Majima's trauma. If you've ever played or watched someone play through Yakuza 0, you see that before the events of the first Yakuza game, Majima was a very different guy. And we get a lot of like his actual backstory, and like we learn a lot more about Majima than like we ever knew. Like he, in the early 80s, was excuse me, I'm burping up Nas and Swedish Fish.
Hell yeah, the winning combo.
Yeah, it tastes like candy. But we learned that he was actually a very different guy. He was pretty not mild mannered, but he was composed and reserved and like conducted himself well, and he acted like a proper Yakuza would in the early 80s. He wasn't wild and crazy. He was actually very subdued. And then he went through a lot of trauma in his life. His best friend, his sworn brother, they were supposed to do an assassination, a hit together, but I don't know. There was a larger convoluted plot that was going to be leading to his brother being set up and him not being there. So he got kidnapped and tortured for like a year while his brother carried out the hit and went to prison. And during the torture, they cut his eye out, which is why he only has one eye now and wears the eye patch. And then he was forced to like repay a debt to the Yakuza by running this cabaret club for years until his debt was paid off. And then, he was married to a woman that he really loved, who she got pregnant and then aborted the baby and didn't tell him till after, and he had to deal with that trauma. And
Jesus.
Man's went through a lot in like from the ages of like 18 to like 22, and then from then on, at the end of Yakuza 0, he just like as a defense mechanism just developed the alternate personality of Goro Majima, the mad dog of Shimano, this wacky, crazy, ultra violent, super aggressive dude as a coping mechanism. And you can see that his progression through the games from Yakuza 1 or Kiwami, which was the remake of 1, all the way up, and by the time you get to like Yakuza 4 and 5, like he's calmed down again. He's dealt with and processed a lot of his trauma, and he's not wild. He's like he's gone from wearing the leather pants and the open snakeskin jacket
Hell yeah.
to like he like wears a suit again and is like dressed nicely and smartly and like he's not insane anymore. And then so his whole persona in the early games was just like a trauma coping mechanism, and I'd never thought about it like that. I just thought like, oh, he's getting older, he's probably calming down, you know, just as men get older, they do calm down, testosterone levels fall or whatever. But like, yeah, I'd never delved into that, and I was watching a 40-minute long video detailing about that and like talking about different factors that are like actually in the DSM-5 and like it diagnosed Majima with like various psychological issues and manifested like how he dealt with them and stuff. And that was a great video. But yeah, that's all ties it back to Japan. And the other thing I'll bring up is do you know who Hiro Oonada is? So we touched on it for a second earlier about how Japan weren't always the good guys.
Yeah.
Well, one time where Japan weren't the good guys was World War II, and Hiro Oonada is commonly accepted to be the last holdout surrender of World War II. Hiro Oonada did not surrender until 1974. Not only that, but like he wasn't like other holdouts where like they found him like sickly and dying, like living in a cave in the jungle. Hiro Oonada was like actively carrying guerrilla attacks in the Philippines up until he surrendered. It took his old captain like being in uniform and coming to get him and issuing him orders to surrender for him to actually surrender. 30 years this guy lived on not a very big Philippine island and evaded capture and being found. He had like 3 people with him. 2 of them, or one of them died pretty early on. And I say pretty early on in his 30 years not knowing the war had ended. So like the 50s, one of the guys died and then another one deserted. And then it wasn't until 72 that his only other friend up to that point, the only person he'd been in contact with aside from Philippine rice farmers he occasionally murdered. He did murder 30 Philippine people in his time there, and he was eventually pardoned of that by the at the time president when he did surrender in 1974. And the reason behind that being like, well, yeah, he fully believed he was still fighting for the Imperial Japanese Empire and that Japan would never surrender because it was such a hardcore indoctrinated into them belief that like surrender wasn't an option. You don't surrender, you die before you surrender. And when you die, you take as many of them with you as you can.
Yeah, exactly.
But he always believed that as long as there was one Japanese person alive, Japan was still fighting the war. And that if it had to be him, it would be. And I watched a great 2-part YouTube doc about that by Oki's Weird Stories, OKI. Great channel. Some fantastic content there. I learned
like
what's
1974 was when he finally like 30 years.
Yeah, part of the second part of that doc I watched, what it goes into is talking about after he surrendered and he realized that because it's not like he was without contact all that time. Like, you know, they were dropping leaflets out of planes all over the jungle, telling them like, hey, come out of the mountains, come out of hiding. The war's over. Japan surrendered. But they were just like, nah, it's propaganda. Fuck that. Like, I'm not believing that. And it's like, it's just,
oh yeah.
I know that like it was indoctrinated in them from the time they were children, the bastardized Bushido code of Japan. But like, you know, I was in the military and, you know, we all go through the sort of indoctrination through like boot camp and stuff. But like, there ain't no way in hell I'm living in the jungle for 30 years.
Yeah.
To fight a war that, I don't know. That's just, I think I posted the part one of the doc in the group chat, and I was like, "This is why I never fucking followed orders." It's like,
yeah, it's a weird thing. It's something that I don't think we could ever understand because that became such a part of his identity. That was his identity, was a soldier. So when he got back, what was left for him? There was nothing left for him. He was a different man. Who he had fallen in love with?
Yeah, his wife had moved on.
Like,
by miracle chance, his mother and father were still alive.
Yeah.
His brother had actually gone to the island of Lubang, which is the small island he was on, like several times to like try and like with like the search party and like megaphones, like trying to convince him to like come out of hiding. The war's over, but like I don't know. You got to watch the doc on Oki's channel because like it goes into it in a lot more detail than I can here, but like. There was always something that convinced him it was just propaganda, and then eventually, after in '72, his buddy, the only one who'd stayed with him all that time, had got killed. And when that happened and news reached Japan that it happened, like the public went crazy. They're like, hey, if there's still somebody out there, and they knew who it was, they knew it would be him because he was sent there. They're like, hey, we gotta make an effort to like bring this guy home. Like somebody's got to let him know he didn't have to go through all this. It's wrong. And then, like military search efforts couldn't find him and get him. Like amount of search parties did. And then like some drunk fucking idiot college student is like, yeah, fuck that. I'm going to go find him. And then sure enough, within 9 hours of being on the island of Lubang, he did find him. He found him in the jungle, and it's fun. Like he was about to shoot the kid, and he said, in perfect formal, older style Japanese, was like, "Oh, the Hinoda-san, like Japan is really worried about you," and that got him to like lower his gun. And then he explained to him, he's like, and he reasoned with him. He's like, so "What would it take for you to surrender and come home?" He's like, "Well, I want orders issued to me by my last commander to tell me to surrender." Because the last orders I got were to never surrender. So, yeah. But he took a picture of him, a photo of him, so that he could like go back to Japan and like prove, hey, he is still alive. We need to get him help. We need to do what he said and get him out of here. And they did eventually. They got his commander back. They were written up orders from, the by then defunct Emperor of Japan. Ordering him to surrender. And then, the biggest thing I took away from it was after he got back and, you talk about 1945 Japan to 1974 Japan. I think there may not be a bigger difference. So it was probably an immense culture shock for him to, be flown home on a jet plane and land and see like what Tokyo had become in that time.
Oh, yeah.
Lights everywhere, technology, shitloads of people, hundreds of cars. Like I bet it was really fucking difficult for him. And
well, that's the same as people that go to prison nowadays for 20 or so years. Like,
yeah, dude, if you went to prison in the late 80s for like a murder and you were getting out like right now, I can't imagine what adapting to life would be like now. And he kind of was in prison, albeit a hellish prison kind of his own making out there in the jungles of Lubang. Yeah. I say jungles. It's there's like 5 mountains on this tiny ass island, and this guy was so good at guerrilla warfare they never fucking found him. But
yeah, it was wild. The only person it says that held out longer was Teruo Nakamura, who held out till December, but obviously you can see he didn't have a full story as Hiro Oonada did.
Fucking Hiro Oonada wrote a goddamn field report every day.
Yeah.
He was a diligent soldier, and he was still carrying out attacks on what he thought was the enemy, Philippines, assisting the U.S. The other guys were all like found like emaciated and like basically dying and shit. Hiro Oonada was like in surviving, still really good shape. His gun was clean. His sword was polished. His uniform, although dirty and like, old, was still like
hand grenades. Like he still had.
He was doing an excellent job. Of his shit. It's just, which it's admirable. It's great that he did that, but also like he wrote a book about it, and most of the latter half of the book was just him talking about what a fucking idiot he thought he was to have held out for so long, not believing the war had ended. Because surely there would come a point, you know, I think for me, probably like a month after like never hearing anything back, I'm like, okay, I think we're on our own here. I think the fucking war is over. I'm
Yeah, that's
pretty
the thing.
sure we lost.
The YouTube video did mention that he was really close. He was like less than a month from when it actually was, based on his calendar. So he had to have known, because
he knew exactly how long he'd been out there.
Yeah. So after I would say a year of no contact.
Yeah. Not only that, but like, Japan was losing the war pretty badly when they sent him to Lubang.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I know the indoctrination is like hardcore in them, but you feel like,
it's.
I mean, obviously, we're wrong to think that something should have clicked with him. That, of the 30 years of people trying to reach him and explain to him that he could come out now, like, that should have gotten through, and there's an extent he definitely should feel like an idiot and foolish for not surrendering, because holy shit, man, 30 years.
Yeah, it's
the kind of thing you just don't imagine could possibly happen today.
Yeah, the last time it happened in America was post 9/11, where a lot of the amount of people that joined the military skyrocketed. But that only lasted for so long.
No, I mean holdouts. Like, there's no way you could be holed up somewhere not believing a war had ended today.
No.
Like,
I mean, also possible. Because we haven't had a full-scale war since World War II. There were wars, but they weren't
overdue for war.
Yeah. It's with the way the state of the world is, I fully believe we will probably have one within the next 10, 15 years. That's why I'm trying to get out as soon as I can.
Civilian money.
Yeah.
It's a lot safer.
Yep. And I won't have to go anywhere. But yeah, it's the indoctrination is definitely not as much there because we have resources we do nowadays.
Yeah, but we've got a different kind of ideological brainwashing going on through diametrically opposed politics and news media.
Politics.
Stop watching the fucking news.
Yeah.
Don't watch the fucking news.
Politics, people that watch TikTok, because people are now, because you go and you get ingrained that these 7-second or whatever TikToks are fantastic, and once you get started down one thing, all it has to do is 1% every video lead you down the direction it wants you to lead you down. And then within 30 minutes, it's down the direction it wants you to be thinking about. It's not hard to change people.
Watching anything with a critical eye is like just a dead neural function that no one has anymore. I mean, I have it, maybe just because I'm so cynical and that's just who I am, but it's unfortunate that so much of the population is willfully just being ignorant.
Yeah.
Because it's easier.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. It definitely doesn't help that the news has multiple times gotten found out that they've lied to their viewership. Like, oh, we don't believe this at all, but we push it. But
they've been doing that since like the 60s.
Yeah, so it's very unfortunate.
Journalistic integrity is probably at an all-time low.
Yeah, that's why the best thing, honestly, as sad as it is YouTube, because if you can find the channels,
all my news.
Yeah.
I just watched one about that crypto bank in California collapsing.
Yeah. The Silicon Valley Bank.
Yeah, that not crypto. I think crypto played a part in it.
Yeah. It was one of the largest bank collapses since the 2008.
Yeah. You know who the CFO was at the time?
No.
The same CFO who was CFO of the Lehman Brothers collapse in 2008. How the fuck does this guy keep getting jobs?
So,
Also, some shady shit going on. He sold a fuckload of stock before the shit happened.
And they paid out the bonuses I saw to everybody. Paid out the
bonuses like hours before this went live and happened.
Yeah. So
and now there's like all kinds of like tech startup workers that like they can't cover payroll now, so there's employees not being paid.
Yeah.
Etsy isn't paying out to their store sellers, or it's like a lot of things are fucked now because rich assholes did rich asshole shit.
Yep. I know a lot of senators are speaking about going after basically.
Not going to.
Yeah, they're not going to, but no, they're on the cut. So it's unfortunate. It's the reason I don't pay attention because
I'm on the cut too. Of NOS energy drink. Sponsor me, NOS.
But yeah, that's the reason I don't really pay attention because it's one, it takes time. Two, I just don't really care because like I don't have anything.
Care and I don't watch the news. The only reason I know about this happening is because Cold Fusion made a video about it.
Yeah. The only reason I know about most things is because the YouTuber I follow makes a video about it.
Yeah, I like following YouTubers with journalistic integrity. One of them, I got to bring up. Sorry, I know I've commandeered the pod right now, but there's a great one in Australia. Channel's called Friendly Geordies. He's got so much journalistic integrity in exposing corruption that his house got firebombed.
Jesus.
Not just that. His neighbor's house got firebombed. And then he was like tweeting about it or something. And then, the people that meant to firebomb his house obviously realized they fucked up and got the wrong house. So then they came back like a week later and firebombed his house. Luckily, he wasn't there at the time. But
Jesus.
He's made a shitload of powerful enemies in Australia just by exposing the truth about things. And fuck yes, dude. Friendly Geordies, a late 20s Australian man who's just making YouTube videos. That the Geraldo Rivera of our generation.
Yeah,
we just talked about the complete lack of journalistic integrity. Well, this guy's willing to have his house firebombed.
Yeah.
To tell the truth about shit. He's not just reading a fucking prompter with a fucking blonde Dolly Parton wig on, you fox nose sluts.
Yeah.
I shouldn't slut shame. I do love slutty women. It's Fox News girls. They got a lot of blondes. I don't watch the news, though.
I know Johnny Harris, a YouTuber we had previously talked about that I like to follow. He's going to be talking about Silicon Valley Bank in probably the next week. He said he's going to push a video out because he does communicate with his followers. So I'm probably going to watch that just because it is interesting. I also do watch Johnny Tran, not transvestite, but he is I believe Chinese or Asian ethnicity.
You mean Jake Tran?
Jake Tran, sorry.
Yeah, Jake Tran's great.
I like his videos. I know he's talked a lot about various things. Some very controversial.
I never see him do videos anymore. It's all fucking shorts.
He does do videos. The last
one I see is a month ago.
He does something like I subscribed to him. Like I paid for his thing for a short time just to see what he had, and it was actually very eye-opening what he had.
Yeah. He's how I learned about the Phoebus cartel and planned obsolescence.
He had one from 16 hours ago, actually, called Nursing Homes. Then he had, from a week ago, he had one on tobacco. Then a week before that, he had cruise ships. Then 2 weeks ago, he had one on Ohio.
Yeah. Ohio.
I
don't even watch videos about Ohio. I'm from there.
And then he's had
I see him though.
Yeah. Then a few on, like one or two I've seen on Ukraine, which was very eye-opening just to learn more about that because obviously I had a lot more optimistic view of a country than I should have. But no country is without its faults.
That's very true.
Because if a country had no faults, it would be a fantasy.
It would be utopia, and everyone would live there, and that's the American dream. Because you got to be asleep to believe it.
Yeah. So that's why I like his videos. Yeah, but
Jake Tran's great. I've sent a lot of his videos to my mom, the dear sweet 50-something woman that she is, just not well informed, still living in rural Ohio, and they don't watch YouTube much. They just watch the TV because they pay for the Comcast cable. And I'm just like, you got to stop watching cable. You got to stop watching news on TV. Like that's not news anymore. That hasn't been for a long time.
That's propaganda.
I've opened her eyes to a lot of shit. One of them being the Phoebus cartel and planned obsolescence that specifically is about light bulbs, but
yeah, but it does apply overall.
Yeah, planned obsolescence is absolutely a thing. Things are not engineered to last forever.
No.
Last time they were Toyota built trucks that they had to buy back because they weren't breaking. And then the next generation of Toyota trucks they had to buy back because they were breaking too much.
Ridiculous, but I don't know. That's an unfortunate thing. Other than that, I've just been reading a lot at work. So I think last time I finished A Scanner Darkly, which really good book. The movie is fantastic. It has Keanu Reeves, Woody Harrelson, Robert Downey Jr.
It's a live action movie with like a hand drawn filter over it. It's very neat.
Really good about the drug problem in America. Really highlights the victims and just what they go through, and just
illegal drugs or prescription drugs, because I've never actually read or watched Scanner Darkly.
It was about legal drugs and just how basically the white man brought it to America and just pushed it onto people to.
The white man do be doing most of the evil shit in the world, and as white men, we got to carry that societal burden. Like, hey, I know I'm the devil, but like, trust me, guys, I'm cool. Yeah, I'm not one of them. I promise.
So I finished that, and then I finished another one by I can't remember his first name, something Lamore, but basically a dude that did what I did before I joined the military, where he worked a lot of jobs and he got a lot of life experiences, but his was different because of. He did it in the early 1900s, where he was a miner. He was a bare knuckle fighter. He was a cattle rancher.
Kind of life experience.
Yeah,
1900s. It was like, I don't know. You fuck up at work, like you might die.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's like you fuck up at work, like, oh, you're so fired.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm gonna die if I fall in this machine.
So it was a much different time. It was interesting to learn about his life and how a lot of the things that he took away from his job.
Life was.
Like how different it was, but how at the same time it was the same, because the life lessons that he learned and talked about in his book still applied today. Where in education isn't always learned in a school. It's what you learn through reading a book and just paying attention, being cognizant. And that still applies heavily today.
The young man's great despair in life is a problem that's been reconciled many times by society through literature and media. That Tyler Durden's whole speech from Fight Club, we've been through that before.
Yeah.
We found a way to find meaning and purpose and carry on in what we're doing. The problem is young men especially are completely fucking unself-aware and refuse to do any introspection. So there's literally a whole category of memes right now. It's like dudes will literally blank instead of go to therapy. It's like, yeah, they will.
Yeah.
Where it's like, dude, emotions aren't gay. If there's anything wrong with being gay, just fucking download BetterHelp, fucking talk about your problems, get a grip on them, handle it. It's not difficult. I mean, it's emotionally difficult sometimes, but the process to bettering yourself is incredibly simple.
Yeah.
It starts with being self-aware. You got to know you have problems and admit you got problems before you can fix any of them. I know I have a fuckload of problems. Some of them can't be fixed, but
yeah, that's. I mean, even I have problems because I'm way fucking selfish, and that's why I don't date. I stopped dating because I could never go and make anyone happy, but that's fine. That's something that I'm dealing with. I probably will continue to deal with, but that's one of many, many problems. But yeah, men in general do have a problem. Toxic masculinity is very much a thing. I hope that anybody watching this will look introspectively and see, because if they do hope to gain a partner, be it male or female,
we're an anti-toxic masculinity podcast.
That either way, if they want a partner, you have to go and deal with life. You have to deal with the problems you have and try and better yourself.
Yeah. You can't love anybody else really until you love yourself.
Yeah. So it's... And if you want to make something last, you have to not have somebody else fix your problems because they're dealing with their own problems. They don't have to deal with yours. If they're dealing with your problems, they can find someone else that doesn't have problems.
And they do.
Because a relationship is always you working to be your best self because your partner could find someone better. True love isn't real. Doesn't exist.
You working to be your best self isn't just a relationship. That should be you every day when you wake up.
Indeed.
You owe it to yourself to be the best version of yourself and do your best work.
Yeah, you don't owe it to anyone else.
That's my own personal Bushido that I've adopted. I need to put my best effort forward for me because I deserve it.
Indeed. So.
Also, I took those swords apart down to bare blades the other day and cleaned them and polished them with the little...
Hell yeah.
I call it a ball on a stick. I'm sure it has an actual proper Japanese name, but it's basically a silk pouch full of really fine powder that you use to polish fine scratches and stuff off of the blade, and then you wipe it with oil and shit. And
hell yeah.
I decided to bring them out of the bedroom because I was like, well, I hardly ever sleep in there, and no one's ever gonna see my beautiful. They were very expensive because they're real swords.
Yeah.
Sitting on top of the headboard, so I brought them out here where I can actually see them and watching the podcast and see them.
Hell yeah.
And they are beautiful swords.
Yeah.
They're real swords, but they are replicas of Bill and Uma Thurman's character, the bride's swords, Hattori Hanzo's swords in the Kill Bill movies. And they are ornate and intricate and just nicely crafted pieces of art. I did change the wrap on that sheath to a red and black one because I like it better than I think the one that came with it was just silver. And I was like, this is plain. Yeah. So I changed it, and I know quite a bit about swords and kendo, and like I said, the Bushido code. So I tied it appropriately and everything, and it looks great.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I care for my swords because they're real fucking swords and they're expensive, and like those aren't Bud Moore replicas.
No.
Those didn't cost $100. Those are expensive, and they will cut shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, sorry, I'm on the side there.
No, you're fine.
Brag about my dick swords. No.
I mean, I would like to get a real sword, but at the same time, I'd rather spend that money towards a project. So it's that's
also for you. I feel like it's even easier for you to get like scammed or conned as an American military man. Fucking camera in Japan. I'm sure you've seen the guys who like hang around the Navy Exchange with pamphlets trying to like sell you real authentic custom samurai swords. Like those are fake as fuck. They're not a full tang. Like I'll send you a picture. Like when I took the hilts off those, or it's not a hilt. It's got a different name because it's Japanese. But the grip, basically, when I disassembled those swords, they are a full tang. They're real carbon steel. They're stamped with maker marks. Like those are. Someone made those in a forge. Like those aren't. Yeah, no,
I wouldn't. I would never buy a sword from the Nex. I would honestly go to mainland somewhere, but those swords.
Well, Okinawa has like a sword making history, so you could probably find an actual place with real swords in Okinawa. The problem is they are expensive. Like,
Yeah, that's the other
nice
thing, I guess.
quality real swords, even if they're not ancient or like old, they're modern, but they were made the right way. They're like $2,000.
Yeah, that's the reason I'm like, I'm good. I'm gonna spend the money on my
like
car.
3 whole cars for me. Shit.
Yeah. So, like, right now, once I have my hood and all that painted, whenever they call me in the spoiler, which I actually had to bring out to show viewers, mounted, I'll be saving money for a while, and the main 3 things I gotta get yet are, because I made a list of what I should get here while I'm still in Japan, and what can wait. And the main 4 things I gotta get is a new speedometer, a 300-kilometer one, a rims, a new seat, or new seats I should say, and then while I am here, it is cheaper to get the rear bins here than in the States off eBay. So
yeah, the rear seat delete bins.
Yeah.
Why new seats? Why are you up-speccing to a different trim RX-7 seats, or do you want aftermarket seats?
I'm going to get the Recaro confetti seats, the SR3s.
Recaro confetti.
Yeah. So, yep. I'm going to, because those are a lot cheaper to get here.
So I was just checking the recording.
Very fine.
You can edit that out.
And then the speedometer, I'll wait. I'll probably get right before I leave because I'm not going to install it here because I don't need it.
Yeah.
The fastest I've ever gone.
You're never going to go 300 kilometers in Japan on the road.
The fastest I've ever gotten was 120, and even that was a bit sketch because the roads aren't made for that. So it just...
No.
Yeah. But everything else I can get relatively cheaper here, so I'm going to get those.
They can just be like in the trunk when we ship the car home.
Yeah. In the trunk, or I'll just put it in with my other stuff that I'm shipping, because obviously I'll have the seats put in a different area, because I'll install the new seats later to...
Ship it all to my house.
I'll ship it to the East Coast, because we'll be on the East Coast, so...
Hopefully by then,
yeah. And then tomorrow I'll be installing the speakers because I got the tools to install everything. So I will try and install those. So that'll be good. And then other than that, really the car is, looks beautiful because I gave her a wash.
Hell yeah.
That was funny because that reminds me of what had happened was I was washing the car at the car wash, which was a hand wash. So
always hand wash.
I was washing the car, and then as I was applying a basically after wash lotion on the car to basically kind of protect it,
Conditioner.
I was as I was finishing up, I was basically on the the very lower end of the car because I work from the top down.
Always.
And then as I was going and working on the underside, basically near the underside, the lower parts, a man, while I was starting, had parked behind me with a very shitty Honda hatchback, and there's only one stall, and I was like, okay, well...
Sounds like an American man.
I was like, okay, well, I'm going to be here a while, so hopefully
Was this an American man?
It was.
This was an American man, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Japanese would never be so rude.
So he parked behind me and then was waiting, and as I was applying lotion to the car, he continued to sit right behind me, even though the drive-through wash was completely open and would have honestly been about the same price and he would have gotten more for his money. So
yeah,
he continued to wait, and then as I was basically on the last little areas of the car, he came up and was like, "Hey, there's a shady spot right there. Why don't you move your car? That way I can wash, because I just want to wash my car." I was like, I
don't care.
I
was
looked
here
at him.
first.
I looked at him and I was
as long
like,
as I want.
I made sure to do a double take. I looked at him, to his car, back to him, and then back to his car again. I was like, okay. So I went and I had to put everything, because all my stuff was in a bucket, because I have a lot of stuff, because my car is $30,000 versus his $2,000 rusty piece of junk. So I put it all in my car. I had to wait till my car warmed up, because I'm not about to move my car. Yeah, it has to warm up.
Yeah.
So I moved my car with a few feet into the sun because I was like, whatever, man. Like, for the reason I'm doing it now is because I want to get it while it still has some moisture on it.
Yeah.
To help with the conditioner. So I went and I just quickly applied it on. He was like, oh, yeah, thanks, man, thanks. I was like, yeah, whatever, fuck you, jackass. And then I proceeded to drive. I was like, yeah. I looked at his car again. I made sure to do a triple take at his car when he moved in. I was like, really? Like, you have a huge piece of shit. Like, why are you even washing this? This is clearly a car you don't care about. Like, so I don't mean to be a dick to people that, have shitty cars, but at the same time...
Yeah, sometimes, that's all you can get. That's all you can get. Doesn't mean you don't love it, but when you're very obviously, you have a piece of shit and you don't give a fuck about it and you're continuing to, like, beat it and make it worse, like, why even be an asshole at the car wash, man?
Yeah, like...
What do you do? Take it home and spray it with a hose. Same thing.
Like, that's the thing. You could clearly tell I do care about my car because of the love and effort I was. Because I was, by the end of it, I was dripping sweat. Because I was working hard to make sure I put every ounce of effort into cleaning it.
Yeah, it's part of the meditative art of automotive detailing that I enjoy so much when I do it. When the weather's nice and I do it outside.
Like, the car still looks great even a few days, like, I would say probably close to a week now at this point, later. Because of that hour or so I put in to going and keeping it, like washing all salt, using a salt shampoo and all that stuff. Just
maximum effort. And effort goes a long way. Effort goes a lot further than like buying nice detailing products.
Yeah. So it's definitely take care of your cars, but also, don't be a dick to a guy that clearly does love his car. Because I could clearly tell he didn't give a shit about his Honda generic hatchback that wasn't a Civic. It was, I don't even know what it was. It looked like a minivan, but smaller. It
was a something. Fuck that guy.
Yeah, so... But that
was a base beater. It was something he bought from somebody when he got there, and when he leaves, he'll sell it to someone who just got there.
Yo, 100%. So
only one's transportation off of the base.
Yeah, it... Absolutely frustrating. I think other than that, I was... I think that was basically all I had today. Cause
I had one more thing. Speaking of cars and things not lasting forever, the Raptor has been recalled.
Nice. For what?
It's the same recall that's been active on them since 2014. On your vehicle, an intermittent failure of the output shaft speed sensor in the transmission may result in an unintended downshift to first gear. Look, buddy, it's been 11 years. That truck's got 160,000 miles on it. It hasn't done it yet. It's probably not going to. I'm not doing this recall where the dealership's just gonna 200-point analyze my truck and then tell me I need 16 grand in work to repair it. I'm like, no, fuck, just replace my fucking sensor. Leave me alone. I'm not paying for shit. Which it sucks though, because the last I heard from Tanner, his truck actually finally did this issue, or had another transmission issue. I think it actually just had another transmission issue because his is a little newer than mine. It's a 2014, mine's a 2011, but he has a lot more miles than I do, and I don't think it's this recall issue. I think probably just the hard life that truck has lived through you owning it has caught up to it, which is unfortunate. But actually, I should message him and follow up with him to see, hey, whatever happened with your truck?
Yeah. Because, I know he did love the truck, so I hope he can find a remedy for the issues it has.
I think he more loved the idea of the truck. I think he's been wanting to get rid of it and get something else for a while, though.
Wonder what he's...
I'll be a little disappointed in him if he does, but also I understand that one had a lot of miles on it, was pretty rough, when he got it. So I'll understand. I can understand when non-car people take the out and don't just let, a vehicle nickel and dime them to death, but I'm not one of those people. I will own my Raptor until I die.
Yeah. Yeah, same with my RX-7. I will continue to own that.
I'm gonna be buried in it.
I probably won't, because I hope that I will. Honestly, I hope that my nephew, or if my nephew has kids, that they love cars as much as I do, and that they will appreciate it as more than I do. Because if they don't, then I don't fucking want to give it to them. I'd rather fucking.
Yeah. If I have no one to pass my vehicles on to, then yeah, bury me with them.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
But that does remind me, speaking of recalls, so my LCPO, my chief, has a very basic ass car. He basically bought it from someone here, which explains a lot because you never buy a car from someone, He bought a around this era, Nissan Murano.
Ugh. That's not even a Japanese Nissan. That is a Nissan that exists solely for the U.S. market that someone took over there with them.
No, it's a Japanese car, but it's like something like it's like the version of whatever.
Oh,
I don't remember what it's called.
There's the teal one in the corner of your screen there, the Nissan Murano Cabriolet. Matt Ferris talked about this car, and so has Doug DeMuro, I think, on a podcast together. They only made like 5 or 6 of these. Like, they didn't make a lot of these for obvious reasons. I mean, it's fucking hideous, but they both just geeked out about how fucking neat it was that it's seafoam green. It's a crossover SUV convertible.
Yeah, fucking wild.
Hey, buddy, somebody messaged you.
Whatever. I don't give a shit. Fuck them. But yeah, so basically it's something like this, but he went and bought it from another service member, so obviously, didn't have the full, the warranty and all that, so any problems with it, he has to deal with. So the driver's side seat, the bolt that holds in the rail is busted.
Yeah. Ooh.
So if you try and lock, it feels like it's trying to shift around, hasn't locked into place. But if you do it he looked it up and he's like, oh yeah, it's a common problem with, my car. So if you try and shift it too much, you try and, force it and try and move it, it will activate the airbags.
Ugh.
So I'm like, you are literally driving with a fucking, explosive. Why are you just okay with this?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, it's been like that for a while, so, I just keep driving. I'm like, are you a fucking E2? Why are you living like this?
In America, too, that would be as simple a fix as, extract what's left of that bolt, take it to Ace Hardware, find a similar grade 8 bolt, then just run a new bolt in there. But, obviously in Japan, they don't, have Ace Hardware. You can't just, go to a hardware store and buy a single bolt. So
yeah, the closest thing we have is MakeMan, but obviously you have to kind of speak the language. And it's just a huge thing. So I'm like, so why don't you just take it to a repair shop and get a rental car for the weekend, or I don't know, sell it and get something different? I don't know.
What's there of the broken bolt in there and just weld that part of the seat track to the floor.
And anything, because
yeah. Anything's better than just driving it around waiting for the airbag to punch you in the fucking face.
So I'm like, holy shit, you are a fucking idiot. And keep in mind, this is my chief. And this dude is 36 and he's bragged he's talked to me at length about how I'm, a child because I never worked blue collar or white collar and all that. I'm like, yeah, that's great. I did other things. I didn't work a desk job because I'm not a basic ass bitch. I worked,
this
in a
may
warehouse.
Be a white T-shirt, but the collar is blue and always will be.
So, he tried to guilt trip me into how the Navy's the best thing that ever happened to me and all that. I'm like, yeah, that's fucking great, buddy.
No, it's
not. I worked real jobs. I didn't sit behind an air conditioner, with a desk. I sweated my ass off.
Here's the thing about Chiefs. They're people too, and quite frequently they are very stupid.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm the car guy of the crew, but I know nothing. So whatever.
The military is only a good option for you if you are literally incapable of doing something else, and it's only because it's the only kind of career you can go into where failure is not an option. unless you really like do something horrible, like commit crimes, like you can't get fired from the military.
No.
No matter how bad you are at your job,
Yeah.
you can't get fired from the military. And with a long enough amount of time in, like you're only ever going to get promoted.
Yeah. That's the thing is, even as like the length that it takes for you to get like basically timed out of the military keeps increasing. And
yeah, because they can't retain anybody.
Yeah, it's if you can't do anything else, do the military. But honestly, if you can do anything else, then don't.
Yeah, do something real fucking simple and not hard, like supply.
Yeah, so it's
be an LS in the Navy or like a supply guy in the Army. Like it's not difficult at all.
Yeah, that reminded me of that. Which it also here. I'm gonna stop sharing. I know I had a reason I had Facebook open, and then I closed it, so I completely fucking forgot for a second.
I had also written one thing down that I completely forgot to mention. It's just a quick thing. Elon Musk was recently tweeting about how he wants to build a company town so that all of his like Tesla employees can live and work, in like the same place. And, that is another thing that I watched a Smoking Tire today, and Matt Farah talked about this. And it's like, oh yeah, because there aren't, 9 or 10 different examples of this happening in history and it going horribly fucking wrong and being a terrible idea. He should definitely do it.
A lot in the USSR.
Well, it's in America, Pullman, Illinois. Pullman, Illinois was like a shithole dictatorship, basically. And it ended up leading to its own downfall. Yeah. Fucking Fordlandia in Brazil, that didn't work out fucking even a little bit. That was a disaster from the very start. Company towns are a shitty, horrible idea.
Yeah. I mean,
I love Elon's propensity for ineptitude. It seems to be endless anymore. That and his ability to be cringe.
Yeah, because there's a video going around of him dancing at some video, like, con he did. And he was, like, dancing, like, taking his jacket off. And it's like, this is really fucking cringe, you old boomer. Like,
dude, I was not even going that hard on the man. I was just talking about Elon Musk's cringeness of, like, nothing like Elon Musk tweeting memes from 2018 every day. There's nothing like it.
Or the time that he fired a guy that, that had a whole thing worked out that if he got fired, he'd owe him $100 million. And then trying to take it back, like, yeah, no, dude, you publicly tweeted you fired this dude. Like, you owe him $100 million.
Who's the guy there's an employee he, like, criticized or some shit?
Yeah, he called him retarded and a waste of resources. And then the dude was like, yeah, it's great. I still go home and sleep in my bed with my wife. What about you? It's like, holy fuck. Savage.
Elon never had a wife.
Yeah. He had a baby mama with a kid that has a retarded ass name.
I think that kid's going to grow up and sue both of his parents.
I hope so.
Making him be so fucked up.
But yeah, the other big thing was, as much as I don't like politics, it was really funny, was Trump had posted that he had planned that if he gets re-elected president, he's going to make a town where the only thing that really stuck out was everybody's going to have flying cars.
That man loves just promising shit that he never deliver on.
Yeah, because for anybody that thinks that's possible, that's not possible, because to have a flying car, you need to not only have your regular car license, your driver's license, you need to have a flying license, which is a lot harder to get.
It's like, you know what a flying car is, right?
Yeah.
It's a plane.
No shit.
That already exists, buddy.
Yeah. Yeah, you need a flying license. They're just really...
You need an FAA certification to drive a flying car.
They're expensive and hard to get.
It's a fucking plane.
Yeah, so it's like... That's great, man. They already have some flying cars. Nobody drives them because they're really hard to get a license. Like, it's hard to get a license because it costs money.
I feel like it should be more difficult to get a driver's license already.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not about to let the same fucking idiots who bumble their way through driver's ed with a D and somehow get a license, behind the wheel of a thing that could, like, crash into a skyscraper.
Yeah. I mean, as much as I go and criticize Japan, I do like how they do things. Where it costs.
I like a lot of the way they do things. I like a lot of things about Japan.
Because the cost of money for them to get a license is a lot higher. It's a lot harder for them to get their license. For the first 2 years, when they do get their license, they have to go and have that badge of shame as a new driver on their car on both the front and back, to let everyone know that they're a driver.
I think JDM does love.
Yeah. When they reach over a certain age, they have to have another thing on the front and back stating that they are a senior driver. And then, so that all those would be fantastic in America because it would let people know, like, hey, this guy is a new driver. He's not experienced.
Yeah. This person's old. They're going to go 55 in the fast lane with their high beams on.
Yep.
In a beige Buick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I
like the way, in terms of driving licenses, I like the way Finland does it. You had 2 years of driving experience in all weather conditions and at night through a driving school before you can even take a driving test in Finland. I would love to see the requirements for driver's licenses become a lot more strict, and I'd also like to see our vehicle inspections become more strict in the way Germany does it.
Yeah.
The TUV, the way they do vehicle inspections, that's fantastic. That would put an end to a lot of things that are parts of car culture here in America, but it would be a good welcome death for them. Stance culture, that would be gone completely because that car would fail immediately on visual alone.
Yeah.
Roll up and be like, okay, well, you can't fucking turn this car all the way, so you failed. Fix your car, and then it'll be legal.
Yeah. Yeah. That kind of shit. There's just so much that should be done to American car culture to fix a lot of the problems that we have because we've gone to a point now where we've gone too far with a lot of the culture. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, you never go full retard. And yeah, that's the R word. I don't care. I'll say it.
It's Tropic Thunder.
I grew up in the early 2000s. We said retard and fag all the time. And
it's great. Now I'm going to edit that.
We just did. No, you're not. It's fine. You can say retard and fag on YouTube. The alphabet people don't like it, and the video will be demonetized because fucking they all are. We don't make any money from our videos anyway. I don't care. But yeah. No, you never go full retard. And in a lot of car cultures, subsects in America, we have gone full retard.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even say it's just America, though. It's all over the world. It's just it's primarily America. Is where we see.
We definitely
because
are
we're the most vocal.
Social media posting about it for sure.
We're the most
street
vocal.
takeovers. That is some dangerous shit that should have never been happening in the first place.
The only other thing I had was the car I saw this morning on the way to medical.
Is that the Typhoon?
It's the GMC Typhoon, which God, it was fantastic.
It's obviously modified in a questionably tasteful way. I'm not a fan of your $15 clear marker lights you put on it because it's your Euro style, whatever. It's not a European car. Don't try to make it look like one. I also don't like your $100 eBay Halo headlights. Those are just chintzy and cheap, and they're gonna break and they look like ass. There's nothing wrong with the standard square beam that the U.S. mandated for 20 years. They worked fine. They looked appropriate in it. They were bright enough. If they aren't bright enough for you, you shouldn't be driving at night.
Yeah.
Not a fan of the stick-on looking bubble hood scoop, but something you and I did both really like is that fender vent that he's using as an air inlet because the air filter is right inside of that fender. That is a backward-facing fender vent from a late 70s Trans Am. And I don't know that it's functional really that way as an inlet because that was always a heat extractor vent on the fender.
Yeah.
So I don't know that it's funneling much air in as an inlet, with its
Yeah,
not particularly flow dynamic design there, but
it looks aesthetic.
it looks aesthetic as fuck. It looks appropriate of the era. It was a very futuristic looking vent design for what was still a very round and Coke bottle shaped car in the 70s. But yeah, no, it looks aesthetic and appropriate as an inlet. May or may not be fully functional. It'll be functional to an extent because
it'll pull some
positive pressure, negative pressure. It will create a differential and induce airflow there. But yeah, C4 Corvette wheels, very popular mod on the Typhoons.
Yeah,
they're an inch bigger and 2 inches wider if that's got a square stance, which hopefully it does because it's an all-wheel drive. Then you should maintain a square stance on all-wheel drives. But yeah, I fucking love Typhoons. I would love one as a daily at some point, but they are
expensive,
ridiculously expensive for what is essentially just a S10 Blazer with a turbo.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I do still want to build a Marlboro Cyclone at some point, but that we can just take a regular S10 and then work from there because it'll be cheaper and it'll be easier.
It'll also be less prone to failure without the all-wheel drive transfer case that the Typhoon and the Cyclone had. They're pretty much okay in stock form, but once you start getting into up to 400 horsepower, they pretty much just start breaking. They weren't the most robust thing, but in stock form, totally fine. But I absolutely want to build a nice Typhoon as a daily driver, and we are obviously going to do a Marlboro Cyclone replica at some point with functional T-tops.
Oh, of course, that's a requirement.
That the Marlboro Cyclones were actually prizes you could win with Marlboro points from the fucking smokers catalog in the 90s. That's just
that is.
It was just peak 90s. Sweet turbo mini truck with T-tops. That's just peak 90s that you can
fucking love it.
Redeem with smoker points as a prize. Hell yeah, dude.
That's everything I love about because you would never have that happen anywhere but America, and that's what I love. That is a full
it could never happen again either.
No, because people are so fucking.
That will be what I would say if we build it unlike a Cyclone in that it actually has a towing capacity. That could be what you use to tow around your F40. Marlboro livery.
Yeah, exactly. Which would be so much fun. Because God.
Back in the 90s when we first started doing red powder coat on things. By the way, that is a 1/25th scale model.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I can tell
it's not a real truck.
Oh yeah, no, I can tell. Yeah, it's a car. Yeah. But still looks really nice. Truck overall looks great.
One ridiculous, stupid aesthetic thing I fucking love about Blazers and S10s of this body style is that the oil filter is remote mounted and it's behind the headlight.
Nice.
Yeah, it makes it super easy to replace the oil filter. You don't have to climb under the truck, or you already got to do that to drain the oil, but you can just sandbag.
Yeah. That's nice about cars overall that are higher up, because my Hummer I could do that too. I could change the oil without a lift or anything. I just had to kind of climb under it, and I did change the oil in the barracks parking lot once.
I changed the oil the day after you bought it, and I put wiper blades on it for you. I did that when we first got to Whidbey. Everybody was buying cars, and there was a week where 4 people bought cars, and I did 4 oil changes that week, and put wiper blades on a lot of new cars.
Yeah, that was
I was dad.
Yeah, I mean it was
I had to dad out and help you with your first car, son.
I mean, not my first car.
I know it wasn't yours, but yeah. No, that was great. No, not even a service related thing. Just I think it's neat that S platform GM trucks have the oil filter remote mounted. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a PPG pace truck. I forget what for, but I showed you pictures of that other PPG pace truck that was actually for the IndyCar series in the 90s, and I just PPG always went hard with the paint jobs on their pace vehicles. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, that's a fucking truck. Holy shit.
They had some Uber 90s creations.
Wow. I love that so much. Just because that's so wild. Like, that is a...
Yeah, dude, 90s aesthetic is PPG pace cars. Full 90s aesthetic.
Let's see what else. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the Fiero. The IMSA-bodied Fiero. I don't know what the fuck that is. I don't think that one's real. Maybe.
300 ZX
on it.
300 ZX.
ZX convertible. I don't know what it would have paced. That one I'm not up to snuff on, but yeah, I'm sure probably. I think there's a Viper down there. It's yellow, but it's purple, but it fades into yellow. Maybe that's an RX-7.
That's an RX-7.
That is an RX-7. Yeah.
That's fucking.
Look at that FD, buddy. You wanna?
No.
Want to get yours painted? No.
No. Which speaking of
rap?
fuck no. Speaking of FD, I'll grab my spoiler real quick while I stop sharing.
Yeah, we'll end on that and show off your sexy white spoiler.
Yeah.
Fuck the Space Force. Well, now that I've got you alone, viewer, I think it's time we had a serious talk about your World of Warcraft addiction. Well, back. Never mind. You get to live another day.
Ugh.
That's the box. Oh, is this an unboxing? Are we doing an unboxing live?
I could.
Hell yeah. Let's get a knife and slice that baby open. We're doing a live unboxing. We're not even live, but it's in the podcast.
Yeah, it's whatever. So, it's just, oh god. A lot of shrimp wrap. Yeah, because I never fucking undid this.
Yeah, they said fragile and handle with care. That means they wrapped it in a fuckload of tape and plastic and then threw it in the truck.
Yep. Well, it's wrapped in a lot of cardboard, thankfully, too, so I got that going for me. There we go.
Hell yeah, I'm sure that won't be a pain in the ass to throw away anywhere in Japan.
Only if I didn't take it on base.
That is true. Military bases are good for that. They got a lot of dumpsters.
Yeah, and I don't give a shit what I throw in there. I throw all my alcohol in there because for some reason in Japan, when you try and throw away alcohol, like in a glass bottle, they want you to take the label off, and I'm not about to do that.
Yeah, fuck that. That's too many steps.
Yeah,
Let the recycling place do that.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, American recycling does that for you, so why the fuck should I have to do that here?
Holy shit, what's that? Oh, fuck. It's like 1 a.m.
Yeah, it's almost bedtime for you.
Very nearly, yeah. Shut these lights off and cuddle up on my nap couch all alone.
Rip.
It's a boy. It's a girl.
Almost.
It's a spoiler.
Yeah.
It doesn't want to come out.
No, not at all.
I hope you know when you edit this, you need to put a spoiler warning right here.
Oh my god. There we go.
You should put a spoiler warning on. You should just clip this part of the podcast and call it spoiler warning.
Oh god, it's almost out. Come on.
Oh fuck! It's so close.
God damn.
Is it tight? Is it so tight?
It's so tight.
Oh fuck! It's so tight.
God damn. I don't think I could have anything any tighter. Where's the
Sounds
table?
fishy.
Ugh. God, I'm getting tired.
Is it tight and sticky? Is it really stuck in there?
I don't know about sticky. I mean, there's definitely a little bit because tape, but you know.
There is usually tape involved.
At least a little bit. Man. God damn you. I'm stuck in the same fucking piece.
We are definitely not professionals at unboxing.
No.
I've never seen a YouTube video where they fight what they're unboxing this much.
Oh, God. Well, whoever taped it, did a fucking great job.
Employee of the month right there.
God damn. Like, there was so much duct tape everywhere. Oh my god. There we go. Finally got it. Holy shit.
Yeah, they taped the fuck out of it, huh?
Holy shit. There we go. Oh yeah.
That's a spoiler.
That's a beautiful fucking spoiler too. That's
absolute fucking unit. Hold it up like a white dude in his profile picture. Hey, there you go. That's the thumbnail right there. Spoiler warning and just a still image of you making that face.
But I don't think people can. Really hard to.
No, the paint looks nice. It's very shiny. It almost looks like they washed and waxed the spoiler before they packaged it.
There. Unfortunately, you can't. Which I wish this was fucking update.
Focus.
Come on.
There we go. That's fine.
Whatever. Wow, yeah, it's really not focusing. There we go. Unfortunately, you can't really see it, but it basically has the, like we had talked about before, it has the same kind of finish that your Escalade did, where it has that pearl.
Yeah, it's pearlescent.
And that's because this one I actually got is a rarity in that it's a Type RZ. And
they had a different white than the base model, huh?
They did. Set it down in a way to not let it drop on the floor.
Cream.
Oh, God. There we go. Okay, now it won't drop. So the Type RZ. So the Type RZ is still a white. Typically, it doesn't have to be. That's the thing. Is they weren't all.
Yeah.
Production numbers.
Japan's like top trim performance production cars usually end up finished in white because that's the international racing color of Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Always has been, and that's culturally what they gravitate toward most is white cars.
So you can see these are all different model numbers, and those are all white. I know there's more.
There is a white RZ.
Yeah, there's a white RZ with the RZ seats that had the carbon Kevlar with the bins.
The ultra lightweight seats.
And it was a 300 mile an hour speedo. Shoot, where is
Kilometer.
Sorry, yes, kilometer.
So you've bought a rare spoiler.
I did. I somehow managed to get a rare spoiler for less than the price of a regular one. I'm trying to find the.
What a good get. Are you going to have the spoiler repainted to match the car, or are you someday going to have the car redone in the pearlescent white?
Right now the plan is to try to paint the spoiler and then the hood to match the car, because I do like the car in its basic white. And then
Plain white is cheap.
Yes. As well as if I were to repaint it to the pearl white mica the spoiler is and the RZ is, I would have to do it the full thing, and I just can't sit without a car for that long.
Yeah, that'd be like a 2 or 3 month thing with the pace body shops work at.
Yeah, so it is unfortunately something that I have to basically, I'm not settling because I do love the white of mine. I love my car.
Mm-hmm.
So instead, what I'll be doing is I'll be doing an FC. I had already planned on doing an FC in the style of
Ryosuke Takahashi's Initial DFC.
Yep. So I want to do that in the Pearl White Mika. Not like that because that has the.
That's
stupid-
Liberty Walked and stupid. That's an
I want to
Instagram
have
clout
the.
car.
I want to have the induction hood that in the original had. That is more of a Japan thing than in overstates. They do have overstates, but it's a lot more hard to get.
Yeah. The scoop.
And then with the Red Sun sticker and a few other things, and basically just keep it rotary, just keep it as a rotary car, but Pearl White
Yeah,
Mika.
full 90s.
So with the 90s rims and all that kind of stuff. Trying to see if I could find a thing for.
Nah, it's not that important.
Yeah, unfortunately, you'd have to look around.
Not a lot of them were Pearl White Mica. So.
Because there were only 175 of the RZ actually made. Yeah.
Oh.
That has a custom body in Snow White Pearl Mika. But I know I have seen it in other colors. I don't know if it was a repaint. I'm pretty sure it wasn't. I'm pretty sure it was available in multiple colors. I believe it was just white and black, though. But either
I think
way...
they're available in more colors than that, because I feel like I've seen blue ones.
They might have been... I don't know if with the RZ, but I know other types, like the Bathurst and all that stuff. There were so many various limited editions.
Yeah. I think I'm thinking of the Bathurst, because that's the one that was in Gran Turismo.
Okay. Yeah, the
And
RZ was...
You could get it in like 5 colors in Gran Turismo. And they're usually good about things like that. Like if a car was only available in like 4 colors, it only had 4 in Gran Turismo. Unless you repainted it.
So, as much as the Spirit R is the coveted one to have, the RZ is actually the rarer one to get. Because of production numbers and all that kind of stuff. So, me managing to get a RZ colored spoiler, while I feel bad about repainting it to match my car, I do realize now that I do love the color. It is very beautiful as a color overall. Definitely a great purchase. And it will be going on the car hopefully before year ends. Right now I'm just waiting on the company really to get back to me to get my car
Get your car in and...
Because right now they're overbooked. Because right now, that's how Okinawa is. Everybody's overbooked. The company...
Not a big island.
No. And the company that is doing a lot of the stuff to fix my turbo, he is overbooked. Seth over at Gaijin Tuning, another great guy. The only guy I know of that speaks English and does rotary stuff together. Because that's a hard thing to do. Especially in Japan. So it does take time, but he has been very willing to work with me, and he has booked me out in May for about a week to look at my car and just figure out any little thing that could go wrong. I do expect it to be expensive, but
a lot of the little things that age have caught up to it in.
Yeah. So it's him taking a week to basically spend with my car. I expect it to be expensive, cost me a couple grand, but in the long run, it is a car I do intend to keep, so it's a expenditure. Yeah. It is an expenditure I'm willing to endeavor, and then hopefully the rest of my time, my RX-7 will continue to be as reliable as she is now, because even without the turbos, she is fantastic. Earlier today, I got her up to 125 to 130 kilometers on the way back. Kind of scary because the Japanese roads aren't made for that, especially in Okinawa, but still, fantastic drive. Sounded great. But other than that, that's bringing the unboxing of the spoiler. That was all I had today. So I don't know.
Well, I think we can end it there. It's past my bedtime. And
That's fair.
Yeah.
So, all right. To all our viewers, we will catch you guys in the next episode. Probably hopefully next week. Kind of just depends on my work schedule and whenever you get back to working. Hopefully soon.
I'm the most thoroughly background checked man who's ever going to work for Penske.
Hell yeah.
As far as I know. I got a contact for someone in the HR department and emailed her, and I was like, hey, what's going on? Why has it been 4 weeks of me having a background check? I'm just trying to work. I'm just trying to change oil in trucks. Like, what the hell? Can we get something going here? And I haven't heard back, so yeah.
I have
It
no idea.
is what it is.
Keep bugging them, but I don't know.
Yeah, I gotta clean the house a little bit tomorrow. My annual property inspection from Windermere is happening. Basically, they've done this twice already. Basically, is like someone shows up, tests all 4 of the smoke alarms, and then goes, "All right, yeah, cool. See you in a year." I'm like, yeah, all right.
Good talk. Good talk.
Then when I like Swiffer the vinyl floor, which I do like once a week anyway. And I'm like, yeah, cool, call that good. I keep the house clean because I don't do anything.
Yeah, same with me.
Yeah.
Like I have booked a appointment for somebody to come and clean my house just because I'm really lazy and I don't have time. But that's like they come once a month, once every other month, and that's I don't do anything, so it doesn't get dirty.
It's a little messy because like I got that recall letter and it's just sitting on the coffee table with like 4 other pieces of mail.
Yeah,
and it's just like those will sit there probably for like 4 months before I throw them away.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Like it's whatever, but today I feel like it was a good podcast, so we'll cut it there for people watching, and then we'll catch you guys in the next one. And then I will talk to you later, fam.
Yep, I'll talk to you later. Love you, bud.
Love you too, fam.
I'm going into a tunnel now. Bye.
Bye.